everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia, and thank you for joining me as we talk about the Tower of God episode 10. But really quickly, I do have to correct a couple of misconceptions that I had from my last episode review. I gave off the impression that only girls from the 10 great households could become princesses of Jihad, and that wasn't my intention because this is in fact not the case, as many of you in the comment section of that video pointed out. I also want to give a big thanks to anyone who just gave me information, whether that's based on how he escaped, or Bam and his copying techniques of Quant. I greatly appreciate any and all information that you give me, as long as it's not like massive spoiler territory. Always great to have that discussion. But on with episode 10. That's right, an episode filled with some camaraderie and a spicy turn of events for a particular character that does a great job of setting up the antagonist for future episodes to come. So first off, let's actually talk about Bam and Rachel. This episode did a good job in showcasing the emotions and development between these two characters. I like the way they handled Bam's character, as it's true to his character in showing that he has a great deal of loyalty, respect, and friendship towards Rachel. In the past, we've been told that Bam believes that he is actually, owned by Rachel. He belongs to her. That's what he told Kun in episode 2. And honestly, this episode helps shed some light onto why he thinks that. And there's a little bit of information I wasn't expecting, but I did like. To Bam's character, Rachel is the light that helped illuminate his dark world that he lived in. And although he's made a lot of friends now, she'll always be number one to him no matter what she does or what happens. I thought his shocking reaction and his kind of facial expressions when the word abandoned was mentioned by Rachel, it was very good. It was also a great way to help show that Bam's character has developed in understanding emotions and that he can kind of proceed past that and understand the logic and the thought process behind someone's actions based on the information that he's given. He's slowly developing and becoming more and more smarter, which is something I really do like, because Bam's a cool character, and although he's a blank slate pretty much to start with, it's great to see him kind of progress and learn and learn and learn, and I just think that the emotion that he shows and understands is a great showcasing of development for him here. Rachel, however, she needs to learn a bit more about reading the room and other people's emotions, as is very clear to anyone, whether that's us as the audience or the characters within the show, that despite how cruel or hurtful the things that she does to him are, he will always come back to her. Now, the one thing I really did like about Rachel's character here, though, is that, yes, she has seen firsthand some of the tower's darkness, and she admits that she has changed. The fact that a character has admitted that she's no longer the person that they used to be, I find cool, because it shows that they're self-aware. But what I also did like, the fact is that although she has seen that darkness, and she has probably killed a few people, and done things she's not happy with, she still has her emotions intact, and she is still capable of feeling empathy and guilt. That is something that I really do like, because I was a bit worried that Rachel's character might be like someone that just completely snaps, and she just doesn't feel anything. And I'm glad that this is not the case, because she clearly feels torn up and guilty by the fact that she called Bam weak and a nuisance, and the fact that she abandoned him. She did like him, it's just that she thought that he was a nuisance and a hindrance to what she really wanted to do. She was desperate to see the stars, and it caused her to do stuff that she's not happy to do. Brilliant. I think the whole link between Rachel and that silent man, though, was being pushed way too hard to us as the audience in this episode, to the point where I started doubting the connection. But if he does return, then it would be to save Rachel's new friends. Rachel is going to bond with the group now. She's going to become part of them once she's able to progress. And I think that the silent man is based on her mental state. As we saw, she got stabbed, which meant her mind was rushing through, her body was panicking, so he disappeared. But when she is calm, collected, and she's got her thoughts back together, she's driven and motivated, he'll probably reappear again. Again, most likely to save her friends, but it could be a way for her to progress and to move forward without actually being able to walk. Because at this point now, she is paralyzed and unable to move or walk herself. So I think that's a good way to do things. I think that works. it's kind of like a stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, if you've seen that series, or it's like the kind of beasts that we see the administrators and held on use at the beginning. But Bam's new motivation to climb the tower, again, is linked to Rachel, which is something I'm not super happy with at first, but this leads to him stepping up to the plate to help ensure she can progress. I like this. It shows Bam's got some fire and he's got some drive. And it shows that he's willing to risk everything, even after witnessing a man being killed by something that probably is going to be less challenging than what Bam has to face now. He's got to do the administrator test, which is said to be very hard, very grueling, and it's going to take a lot of persistence and willpower to use. And I think he can accomplish it. I think it's only a matter of time before it does, but I want to see him struggle. I want to see him evolve and become better through this process. Plus, again, the fact that he picked up this challenge links back to his loyalty and his gratitude. He's so grateful for the fact that Rachel kind of shed that light on his dark world, that he's able to risk and willing to risk everything just so she can progress and she can have her dream come true. Okay, so then, moving on, Han Sung-yu. This episode helps make him look super sketchy, and if you think about it, there have been hints spreaded across the last other episodes of him kind of getting other people to help persuade a situation to help benefit his own cause. In episode 3, he kind of talks to the inflatable bag to kind of help drop a hint about the test, but also to see how Kun would react. In the Crown game, I believe that him and the redhead girl were in cahoots. The one in the gimp suit that stroked Bam on the head, or striked, I should say. He could very well influence and guide other characters to kind of help persuade a narrative to him. And that, again, would help add to the fact that he's now being portrayed as a protagonist. In this episode, he makes 2 flexes, and yes, put 4 fingers. Oh well. But the first one is on Rack, where he makes him small, which I actually thought was pretty funny. And the second one is when he encounters the sheep tester that is currently being impersonated. This part of the episode I thought was pretty cool. It makes him does look a bit more menacing and a bit more of a threat. And I love the fact he's just like, fight me? Don't be silly. But honestly, I think this character is very mentally unstable. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if, by the end of the episode, in the way that it plans out to Bam volunteering for the administrator test, that it was all part of his plan. After all, he knows about the connection between Rachel and Bam, plus it's heavily implied that, or hinted at, the fact that he played a part in Hao getting that letter, in telling him how to deal with Bam and playing on Hao's jealousy. So that was either this character doing it or a Kun doing it. However, Kun does state in this episode to Leiroro that basically someone needed to know the teams in order to know that Rachel and Hao were on the same team, or Bam and Rachel, all 3 were on the same team. So it must be someone who organized the teams, thus being this character, setting him up to be even more sketchier. As well as the fact is, we always keep hearing the fact that he wants to eliminate all threats to the tower. So maybe the rule about the irregulars can only do the test is a lie. This again would go with the idea of him wanting Bam gone, plus it would also destroy any friendships that Bam has currently created, or make it easier to help get his friends to turn on him at a later time. Because once they find out that he's an irregular, they all kind of go, he's an irregular? We can't help him. Well, it's all a ruse, it's all a joke, but, there's that doubt kind of seeping in, and with some of the kind of filler and fodder characters still in the mix, we could possibly see them being manipulated. Now, the impersonator, the guy in the sheep costume, he's after a knack and the 13 March weapons, that being Green April and Black March, which I think this most likely means that we are going to get more information on those weapons, which would be great, and we're going to get more development on a knack storyline, which I think is super interesting, and I do want to find out more, but they kind of leave a line here where he's working undercover as like an agent for someone who's higher up, meaning that the higher ups have kind of found her out and know of her existence now. So she needs to sleep with one eye open. Yeah. And lastly, moving on to Kun. We all know that he's a smart character. That again is shown here in how he planned the last test in order to ensure Bam would pass. But I really found in this episode the fact that seeing him coming out of his turtle shell a bit more was a great thing, as the friendship and bond between himself and Bam is shown to be improving at a good rate. However, it's noticeable that he still feels like he's not changed much as a person when comparing himself to his older version. And although I would disagree, I can see why this character would think that. He's still using sleazy techniques and he's still being underhanded, and we don't know how he helped Maria yet to become in the position that she is. So maybe he was doing all this type of stuff back then before he was betrayed, and he's going back into his same roots and he wishes to kind of grow out of it. But he is improving because he's helping out friends and he's learning to trust people more and more, especially after being betrayed as badly as he did. But I really do want to see the next encounter between Kun and Maria. I think that's going to be very telling for his character, and I want that to happen shortly. Overall, I actually thought this episode was really good. It was a fantastic episode that helped set up an antagonist, and it helped characters to find closure on Hal's passing. And it displayed a lot of loyalty and friendship in a very positive way that I thought was handled in a very good way as well. The music was brilliant. I loved the fact that they had very calm music and very kind of aggressive music when they did. One bit of music and sound effects I thought was a bit weird and out of place was when the sheep dude impersonator kind of was revealed. I thought like that was very loud and very glaring and a little bit kind of out of place. I get they're trying to make it a big tensions reveal, but it doesn't need to be like it was. The animation was really nice. I like the fact that it gave a slight change in tone and made the edges a bit rougher when Rachel was crying. Going back to it here, you can see it just there. Her character is a bit more kind of, the edges on the character are a little bit more ragged, and the tone is slightly darker. So I thought that was pretty good, as it helps to show the expressions on her face. But yeah, I mean, the only real problem I had with it was seeing that some of the fodder and some of the characters I really don't care about passed. But hey, I guess every show needs fodder to help showcase and show off the skills of other characters that are the main cast. So I want to know all your thoughts on this episode down below. I may have missed a couple of things. If I have, again, I will either address it in the start of my next video, or I will make a follow-up video. Something to look forward to in the short days to come would be the fact that I'll be making my thoughts on the English dub of the series, where I go and learn some names, and yeah, I don't like the dub very much, but hey. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me, and until next time, hope you have an amazing day. Alligator, mutton it, goodbye. Leirolo, that's how you say his name. Cool.